Hello, nice to meet you. I am Dr. ItㅣDong-Hwan, an educator and physician. I am a family medicine doctor. But you saw today's title, right? You might be wondering why a family medicine doctor is suddenly talking about happiness. That's what I'd like to talk about today. If I count from my internship to this year, my medical career has been quite long. It's been 34 years. Yes. Why are you so surprised?
You look so young.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, it's been exactly 33 years for me. Let me start by making a confession. For the first 15 or 16 years, and then for the next 17 or 18 years, I've been living a completely different life. Right now, as for me, I am a specialist in chronic fatigue and stress. I've written about 7 books on the subject. I've been running a chronic fatigue and stress specialty clinic in Korea and have been treating patients for 16 years. As a doctor who majored in education, I also actively run the YouTube channel ItㅣDong-Hwan Lee TV. The number of subscribers recently surpassed 1 million, and now it's about 1.05 million. Today, I won't bother asking you to like or subscribe here. Yes. For about the first 15 years of my career as a doctor, I lived completely burned out, suffering from chronic fatigue and stress. Because of stress, my weight even exceeded 100 kilograms. I was also always sensitive to stress, emotionally troubled, anxious, full of worries, and constantly frowning. But 19 years ago, I experienced new learning and growth that completely changed my life. The human body is made up of cells, and when you enhance cellular function, your energy improves. At that time, I first encountered a new kind of medicine, not modern medicine that treats diseases, but an approach that enhances cellular function. That field is called functional medicine. And then medicine for managing stress. That's psychosomatic medicine, mind-body medicine. And then, in order to change our mindset, yes, there is psychology for maintaining positivity, positive psychology, and then neuroscience and various psychological techniques. I immersed myself in studying these fields and began practicing medicine in this direction. Yes, I was the first in the country to establish a chronic fatigue and stress specialty clinic that treats patients using these new approaches rather than conventional medicine, and I have been treating patients for 16 years. So today, out of all the things I have studied, I want to share a few psychological techniques that I have personally tested and thoroughly verified through many patients, and that can be put to use right away. I'm going to teach you one thing. After listening to today's lecture, you'll walk away with this one thing. What could it be? It's the key to happiness. Now, this psychological technique, it originated from NLP. There's a psychological method called NLP. NLP, it is an abbreviation for a certain phrase, and what it stands for is neuro-linguistic programming. It was developed 50 years ago by Richard Bandler, an American psychologist, and John Grinder, a linguist. Today, out of the many NLP techniques, I'm going to teach you the key to happiness, a technique that you can learn right away and instantly use to feel happier. Now, this picture, what animal do you see here? A dog? Yes, that's a relief. Some people see it as a black goat, right? So there's a dog and a bell. Something immediately comes to mind, doesn't it? It's Pavlov's classical conditioning experiment. You all know it, right? You ring a bell while giving food to the dog. If you do this multiple times, a condition is formed. So later on, right? Even if you don't give food, just ringing the bell makes the dog salivate. This is the famous Pavlov's conditioned reflex. Now, this kind of conditioned reflex also applies to our emotions. Let me give you an example. Now, could those who are married please raise your hands? All right, please keep your hands raised. So if I am married to my first love, keep your hands up. Wait a moment, just a second. Those of you who came here with your spouse, you need to think carefully about this. All right? That's not too many of you. Yes, it's okay to raise your hand. Actually, many of us have memories of our first love, right? Yes. There must be a place where you went on dates with your first love. As time goes by, you end up having a regular hangout spot you visit every day. There's always that same cafe you keep going to. And every time you sit in the exact same spot. Back then, the same music would always be playing in the background. And you'd always order the same drink. So after building up memories like that, some people eventually break up as time passes. Yes. I went to that cafe alone again. Let's imagine it. The seat is still there, just as it was. You sit down right in that spot. The same music from back then is playing. You're drinking the same beverage. Now, how do you think you would feel? Right? You feel happy. Yes. But looking at your expressions now, it seems like many of you have bad memories of your first love. Those of you who don't look happy probably have bad memories. So in this way, our emotions can be triggered as a conditioned reflex. Of course, sometimes they're triggered in a negative way. For example, you meet someone. It could be a coworker at your job, or it could be a neighbor. But strangely, even though that person hasn't done anything wrong to you, sometimes after talking with them for a bit, you just end up feeling bad for no reason. Yes. I see some of you nodding your heads vigorously right now. Why does that happen? Actually, it's not that person's fault. It's because things like that person's facial expression, tone of voice, hairstyle, or even their perfume, if any of those are similar to someone from your past who you had a bad experience with, those similarities can trigger those old memories. Even if I don't consciously remember, those negative emotions are conditioned in my subconscious. So it's really not that person's fault. When I talk with that person, for some reason, their way of speaking or something about them unconsciously brings up bad memories from my subconscious, and I end up feeling upset. This is clear evidence that our emotions can be conditioned like a reflex. In NLP, this is called the anchoring technique. Well, anchoring in this context, it means anchor. Yes, an anchor. So anchoring in NLP means to be linked to something. So this is essentially the same as creating a conditioned reflex. I've asked this question to many people. How many times a day do you feel happy? But when people are asked this question, they all go blank. That's because when we think of happiness, these are the things that come to mind. We think we need to get promoted at work or buy a nice car. Yes, we think we have to win the lottery to be happy or move into a nice house. Of course, those things would make us very happy. But here's the thing. Our brains are actually very simple, so even the smallest happiness can make our whole brain feel happy in that moment. For example, one day I came home and saw my wife shedding tears of joy and emotion. Why was that? She was watching TV. On TV, there was a singing competition where singers were performing. She was so moved by the passionate singing that she was completely absorbed in the song and even brought to tears. Now, in this way, we can definitely feel happiness even from a single small song. But does that feeling last long? 30 seconds? A minute? Before the song even ends, the emotion fades away. That's why we often don't even realize we've felt happiness, and we just forget about it as we go on with our lives. This happens quite often. For example, I'm driving and suddenly a song I love comes on the radio. And at that very moment, the sky in the distance is painted red with a beautiful sunset. I feel so good and so happy. Or for those of you with young children, when you come home and your kids run out shouting, "Mom, Dad," they come running out to greet you, right? And you hug them. When you smell your baby's scent and feel their chubby little arms, you feel happy, don't you? But does that feeling last long? It doesn't last long. But from this moment on, all of you precious people here must never let go of this precious energy of happiness. From now on, you'll feel that sensation several times a day. Whenever it comes, just shout this out. Please repeat after me just once. Okay, here we go. Now's the moment. All right, let's start.
Now's the moment, right now.
One more time. Now's the moment.
Now's the moment, right now.
Of course, in real life, you shouldn't shout it out this loudly. You'll startle the person next to you. Just quietly say to yourself, "Now's the moment." And what do you do next? Everyone, please raise your left hand. Hold your fingers like this. Yes, are you holding them? And then just fully feel this happy emotion. When you're holding a baby, or watching a beautiful sunset, or watching a happy drama, yes. But after a while, that feeling fades away, right? So what do you do then? Just let go of your hand and lower it. What is this? Yes, this is exactly like when we give food to a dog and ring a bell at the same time. It has the same effect. The happy feeling is like the food. Ringing the bell is like when we hold our fingers, our brain's neural circuits are activated, right? Yes, so as you perform the action of holding your fingers, you feel this sensation. And as you sense the movement of your fingers, the neural circuits in your brain are activated. In this way, a conditioned reflex is formed. We develop conditioned reflexes just like dogs do. Yes, we are like dogs. We are exactly the same as dogs. Now, when I give this kind of explanation, people ask me how to actually use this conditioned reflex. If you make sure to seize those precious moments, those times filled with good energy and happiness, by repeatedly saying, "This is the moment," and holding on to them, the energy of happiness will keep accumulating here. This is the very key to happiness. Now, there are times when our energy drops and we feel lethargic and we want to change our mood. At times like that, take a deep breath together, slowly. About 3 to 5 times. Taking deep breaths is extremely important for brain function, and here's why. When we take deep breaths, there's a part of our brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is structured in a way that makes it easy to feel anxiety or negative emotions. Deep breathing is actually a very effective way to calm the amygdala. So first, take slow, deep breaths and then hold on to the conditioned response you've built up. Then something amazing happens. Without even realizing it, your mind becomes calmer and your anxiety starts to fade away. Some people may even find themselves transitioning into a state of real happiness. Now, here's something else. When I explain this, a lot of people ask me a question. Do I really have to use my fingers like this? Well, not necessarily. What's important is to use a gesture that you don't normally do in your daily life. If you use a gesture that you often do, your emotions can get mixed in. That's why I usually recommend this gesture the most. But are there people who do this gesture a lot too? If you do this gesture a lot, then try this gesture instead. This one. Yes. Some people, when they feel that emotion hit them, think, this is the moment. And they clench their fists tightly. Some people, when that emotion comes, grab their ears. You just need to choose a gesture that you don't usually do, something unique to yourself, but make sure it's not something that looks too strange to others, like suddenly sticking your finger up your nose, for example. You shouldn't do things like that. Yes, pick something that's comfortable, but you should use a gesture you don't normally do and consistently use it to find the key to happiness. There's also something else important. You need to distinguish between your left and right hand. Yes, so if you choose to use your left hand, always use your left hand. That's because the brain circuits are different. So if you choose to use your right hand, keep using your right hand. And if you consistently associate that gesture with happiness, what have you just gained right now? The key to good luck. No, it's not the key to good luck. You've obtained the key to happiness. Could you take a look at your partner's face for a moment? Now, please say this to each other. Congratulations. All right, go ahead. Congratulations. You have received the key to happiness. All right, go ahead. Please give your partner a round of applause. Yes. Yes. So, how would your life change if you used this anchoring technique in your daily life? I'll talk a bit more about that today. In order to use this anchoring technique, you need to recognize the moments when you feel happiness, right? That way you can say, yes, this is it. This is the moment. You'll be able to realize it. So what exactly is it to notice that? This is actually a very important point I'm making. The ability to notice your own emotions. This is the famous metacognitive ability. Metacognition is a capability that only humans possess. Now, some of you have pets, right? Yes, no matter how smart a dog is, even though they feel emotions just like humans, they can't do this. They simply can't realize that they are feeling these emotions and become aware of themselves. The reason for this is that among the structures in the human brain, there is a region called the prefrontal cortex, which is located even further in front of the frontal lobe. Because only humans have a prefrontal cortex, metacognition is possible. And this prefrontal cortex is an extremely important area when it comes to changing human life. When the prefrontal cortex starts to become activated, your self-regulation abilities improve. You also become better at overcoming difficulties when they arise. And you develop perseverance and patience. Yes, thanks to these qualities, you grow and move forward to become a more successful person. So, one of the most common methods to activate metacognition is the famous practice of meditation. Meditation is essentially a training to continuously become aware of yourself. But today, by using this anchoring technique, you can also strengthen your metacognitive abilities by repeatedly training yourself to quickly catch your own emotions. 19 years ago, in order to treat patients with chronic fatigue and stress, I studied things like functional medicine, mind-body medicine, positive psychology, and NLP. But who do you think actually benefited the most from all this? It was me, myself. It's probably hard for you to imagine what I looked like back when I weighed 100 kilograms, right? Yes, I thought you might feel that way, so I've prepared some reference photos. Let me show you briefly. This is how I used to live back then. I'll stop it quickly, everyone. That was when I was in my late 30s. I was a doctor, but I had no self-management at all. If I hadn't started studying something new back then, if I hadn't changed my body and mind and had just kept living like that, I'd probably be suffering from a serious illness by now. But thankfully, and I'm so grateful for this, through new studies, my body and mind began to change. And my life and the way I live also started to change. Now, I'd like to say my final words. Thank you so much for listening attentively. Have you all taken a key to happiness with you in your pocket today? Yes. Then I hope you'll make good use of that key to happiness from now on and continue to grow and succeed even more. Thank you.